Welcome to Sticks and Stones. We are your fabulous hosts. I'm Joshua.
I'm Vassy.
And we talk about topics that might get a little bit uncomfortable. We talk about topics that may get, maybe you might find a little offensive, at times, which I was watching a stand-up by Ricky Gervais the other day. It wasn't a stand-up. It was actually an interview that he was giving. And the interviewer said something along the lines of, what happens if you offend some people? He's like, it's not my fault. It's not my problem. I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and you might get offended. He just goes on to say that somebody somewhere might get offended at just about everything that gets said. And You can't help that.
That is absolutely a they problem, not a me problem.
that is a they problem. And much like Vassy and I have discussed in the past, and I'm sure we will moving forward, we stay friends because if I say something that offends you, that it legitimately offends you, then we can talk about that.
We'll talk about it.
I do say things to offend people sometimes. I mean, we all do.
Same.
At some time.
It's fun sometimes.
Right. But I don't say things to people that I love to intentionally offend them, but sometimes that happens.
Right. I don't say things to hurt people. There's a difference between intentionally trying to hurt someone and offending them because that's your opinion. Your opinion is your opinion. Your opinion
is your opinion. Somebody's going to get offended, at some point, and like you said, that's a you problem.
Right.
That is a you problem. If if our conversation here or at any time offends you, go listen to something else. That's
Well, leave a comment. Well, I'd love to hear from you and have a conversation.
That's great. So with that said, today's topic, or at least one of them, I wanted to talk about this phenomenon that we refer to as tax the rich. Full disclosure, I'm not rich, and I'm not going to sit here and defend Elon Musk or anybody else that has a tremendous amount of wealth from paying taxes. That's not what I'm interested in at all. What I'm more interested in is I want everybody to pay less taxes. I think that as a society we are taxed too much, and I think that there is a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse that can be rooted out and done away with.
Right.
I hate, as a matter of fact, this mantra of pay their fair share. That to me is stupid. Like, it's just stupid. Well, first off, let me say that whoever came up with that was a brilliant marketer. Like, that's
right.
As a marketing program, that's fantastic. But in practice, I think that is just stupid. Pay their fair share.
What is wrong with pay their fair share?
I'm glad you asked. So when they say rich people need to pay their fair share, there is no definite number in that. It's just so vague that I can always say you need to pay your fair share. What does that mean? That means more than what you think it means. What is pay their? What does that mean? How much is pay their fair share? There's got to be a number to it.
It's subjective, right? But if I'm paying 30% and you said Elon's paying 5%, that is not him paying his fair share.
Elon's 5%, I would dare say, is more than your 30%.
But we're talking percentages, so it's equal.
Why? Why are we talking percentages? Because his raw numbers are more.
Why not talk?
Okay, that's a great example. So if you go make a purchase somewhere, and the more money you spend, the lower your percentage is that you're going to, and oftentimes in a lot of different purchases, the more money that you spend. If you were going to subscribe to something and it'll say, okay, it's going to be $10 a month, but if you pay all at one time, it's $100 and you're going to save yourself 20%. A lot of people do that. That is a very normal thing, to where the more raw numbers that you put into it, the more discounts that you get. I'm perfectly fine with that.
But that's not taxes.
No, clearly it's not.
About purchases.
Yeah.
Not even.
Well, actually, why not? Why not? I mean,
not the same.
Revenue. They call tax. It's revenue. Why isn't it the same?
Because it's not the same.
Why? Okay, but why is it? It's a raw number, and what we're saying is that if Elon, and we just obviously I don't know what Elon Musk pays in taxes, and frankly, I really don't care. But if just using that example, 5% of whatever he's got is
it's more.
Tremendous amount of money.
It's more,
right?
But it's not the fair share.
Who decides what a fair share is and how much is a fair share? You can't say fair share because you can always say it's more. It's more.
Numbers are not subjective.
All right, let's get into some numbers. Do you know what the wealthy pays in federal income taxes?
No one knows.
Well, somebody does know. But as a percentage, there's data. 38 to 40% of all federal income taxes are paid by the top 1%. 38 to 40. That's not just their fair share. That's egregiously more than everybody else. So whether it's 5% or 10% or 3% or 100%, they pay 38 to 40% of all federal income taxes. And again, don't misunderstand. I'm not bleeding. I'm not crying for Elon Musk or anybody else. That's not it. It's just, that's a lot of money.
So
I mean,
what would you like to see happen? How would you like this to
go?
go?
In Joshua's perfect world here, I would like to see income taxes go away entirely. I would like to see everything funded by sales tax. You buy something, and rich people buy stuff. They buy a lot of stuff, and it's very expensive. That way, if you bought everything on sales taxes, there's no loopholes. There's no write-offs.
Well, that the government wouldn't get funded because
Sure you could.
Because people that are poorer wouldn't be able to buy as much. They don't buy as much because they don't have as much money. So that tax bracket bucket of money would disappear.
I would disagree because right now,
I know you're going to disagree.
Well, I know, but I'm going to tell you how that works. Is that right now people that don't have the means, they get benefits, SNAP, WIC, things of that nature. It would work the same way for their taxes. So beginning of every month.
Have you ever been on WIC or?
Personally, no. There was a decision. I qualified, but I personally no. My mother was when I was younger, though.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, whatever it was at the time. I don't know if it was WIC or SNAP or whatever it was. But yes, we were on food stamps. We were on government assistance when I was young. Yeah.
And how much extra money did your mom have to spend on things?
Again, I was a kid. I know this.
Just
we were poor.
Common sense.
None.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No taxes, no sales tax, nothing. Zilch, nothing.
Right. Okay.
So where is the government going to get funded? How is that going to work?
I just told you sales tax. So
that's
sales tax right now is what, 8.5% in Nevada. If there was no federal income tax, well, that sales tax now could be 20-25% or whatever it is, like that. Big purchases are still going to get made.
You're just taking one bucket away and doubling the other one.
I don't think, maybe not. I don't think
maybe that's exactly what you just did.
Oh no, I think you are shifting the idea. I think you're shifting where your revenue comes from in a different manner. Right now, what you're saying is, first off, when people don't like it that rich people don't pay their fair share in income taxes, you are incentivizing the current system, meaning that, the tax code is something like 10,000 pages long. That is insanely stupid. And it's just full of loopholes and write-offs and things that rich people put in the tax code because they're rich and they can lobby congressmen to put in there so that they don't have to pay their taxes.
So they don't have to pay what?
Their taxes.
Fair share.
They are whatever.
Their fair share.
That number, that phrase.
So they don't have to pay their fair share.
Whatever that might be. Right. Again, a fair share would be, would you agree or disagree with 40% of all income taxes being paid by 1% is a fair share? Would you agree with that?
That's the way capitalism works. They make more money.
Again, I'm not crying for these guys. I'm just saying you can't say they're fair share when they're paying almost half.
So throughout my life, I've changed tax brackets, right? And my taxes have gone up and up and up and up. It is what it is. We live here. If I don't like it, move. I don't have enough money to change it for my benefit, so I have to pay it. That's just the way it goes. Taxes
are treated in such a strange way. Let me give you an example here of what I mean. Okay. If you think somebody, a wealthy person, has too much and we need to tax the rich because they've got more than what they need, is that kind of what the thinking is?
You have more than what they need. I have more than what I need.
We all have more than what we need. And you knew where I was going with that. We all have more than what we need. Well, who is the arbiter of you have too much? Who gets to decide? What happens if I go out to a nice restaurant? What happens if I go out to a nice restaurant and somebody next to me has more food than what they need? Am I allowed to just go over and take that because they have too much, more than what they need? Well, of course not. That would be ridiculous. Well, why is income treated differently? You have too much. You have more than what you need. Did you know that when Steve Jobs died, who I would say, and I think most people would agree, changed the world so profoundly that if we did not have a Steve Jobs, the world would look very different today than what it does. When he died, he was worth $125 for every iPhone sold in 2011. $125 for a guy that changed the world so profoundly. $125 for every iPhone.
How many iPhones have been sold since?
Oh, just that 1 year. Just that 1 year. That's what I'm talking about. He was worth $10 billion, which that's a lot of money. But who's to say that's too much? Like, oh, you know what? $10 billion, that's it. That's all you get.
I don't think that's the argument. I think at least my argument is, if I make $100,000 and I have to pay 10% of my tax, or my income to the government, and such makes 1 billion, they should have to pay their 10% of that. That's
I'm fine with that.
That's fair.
That's
not what's happening.
I'd be fine with that.
What's happening is these rich, uber rich, like you said, are lobbying for the taxes to be incentivized in their favor. Plus, they don't make money the way we make money.
Agreed. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Another loophole.
Right.
How is that fair? That's what we talk about, being fair.
So we're going to agree that the current tax structure doesn't make a lot of sense.
It makes no sense.
We're going to agree on that,
Yes.
right? The tax code should not be 10,000 pages long. That is just insane. That's just dumb,
No.
right? I would be much more in favor of a flat tax. I think Steve Forbes ran on that, I don't know, 20 years ago or whatever. It never got any traction whatsoever.
Right.
But I'd be fine with a flat tax, 10%, 15%, whatever that is. It would do away with the IRS, which again, be fine with that, or drastically reduce it. It would do away with a lot of accountants, which, hey, I'm sorry, there's no more candlestick makers and buggy whip makers either. So again, I'm fine with that. So no, I mean, we're in agreements on that. What I don't like is this pay their fair share when the top 1% pays 40%.
That's just the phrase. Taxes. The phrase could be anything.
I know, and I get, well, they keep using it just so they can keep using it.
Who is they?
The people that want to raise your taxes all the time. The people that want more taxes. There is a group of people that just has an insatiable need to raise your taxes.
There's also a group of people that say we're not going to raise taxes,
but
then they do raise taxes.
Yeah. Yeah, read my lips. No new taxes. Yeah, like I say, we're definitely going to agree on that. I just suppose that I don't like the mantra. I don't like they need to pay their fair share, and then get classified as you're evil because you don't want to pay taxes. First off, the government doesn't do anything better than what the private sector does, except for the military. I will grant you they do the military well. Everything else, the private sector does better. And I'd be willing to bet that if there were no egregious taxes like this, the private sector is going to provide homeless shelters. They're going to provide assistance for the needy. They're going to provide much of these things. Should the government help the less fortunate? Absolutely. We're the wealthiest nation in the history of the world. Absolutely. Right.
They have a responsibility.
Absolutely. This is our society. We absolutely should. And we're going to talk about in another segment, what some of those people, what that does mean, in reality too. But no, I absolutely agree with that. I'm not Scrooge over here saying that, we can't help out less fortunate people. To your point, we have an obligation. We're the wealthiest nation in the history of the world. This is the land of opportunity. And so, yes, we should do that. There should be an allocation for us to help people. And unfortunately,
we shouldn't have homeless.
We should not. No, I agree with that.
There shouldn't be a food deficit.
I agree with that too.
No one should go hungry that lives here.
I agree with that too.
But it's happening.
No, and yeah, unfortunately there is abuses in the system that causes
going to say
that to happen. And we saw that right now. It's going on in Minnesota, and they say it's going on all over the country, which I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. And I'm not making that a Republican or a Democrat thing. It just happened to find it in Minnesota. If you found it in Texas or whatever, I'm sure it's there too.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is. And I would, I want majority of that, or all of it, as much as can be, taken away, from that. We're still getting people right now that are getting in trouble because they took PPP money in COVID when they didn't deserve it.
Well, meanwhile, the rich who had businesses got a bunch of money because their businesses were shut down.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
I think all of them should be punished.
They
really.
should.
I mean, I think all of them. But again, I'm not defending the ultra wealthy. I'm not whatsoever. And I don't like it that during these arguments that I'm on that side of having to defend the ultra wealthy, because it's not it at all.
Why are you though?
I was just going to answer that.
Right.
Why I do that is because I want to pay less taxes. And I want you to pay less in taxes. And I'm not discriminating just because somebody is a billionaire. I want everybody to pay less in taxes.
Yeah.
We are an overtaxed nation.
The difference between you and I is I don't care if I have to pay more taxes. The problem is the people that are spending our tax money and where it goes.
Yeah.
That's where I have my problem.
Agree with that too.
There's no oversight. supposed to be oversight, but
Not-
there's no oversight on where the money goes.
I would agree with both of those. We are taxed too much, and the way that they're spending it is egregious.
I can't say I'm taxed too much because I have more than I thought I'd ever have in life. So I'm taxed adequately.
I mean, do you know a difference of what that you should be taxed differently? I mean, I think that if you're taxed more than 10%, that's too much.
Well, of course I am.
Yeah, I think that 10% should be, that's it, right? I mean, we get plenty of tax revenue. Estate taxes, your house, gas, sales tax, everything tax. There's a tax on everything. So it's not like we're an undertaxed nation.
Or fees. Which is just another.
Oh my goodness. Next time that you register your car, maybe you've looked at it already, go look at all the dumb fees that are on there. And it's a fee just for a fee. And sometimes they don't even hide it. They're just like, fee.
There's a fee for walking in. There's a miscellaneous fee.
Anyway, I think we've made our point. Anything else that you want to say?
Make sure that the rich pay their fair share.
So I see I changed nobody's mind here on this particular panel. I mean, pay your taxes, but don't pay more than what you need to. Elect people that want to lower your taxes, namely a guy named Joshua Dowd in Assembly District 5. But that's all I've got on this topic.
I'm good.
So we're going to take a quick break. But in the meantime, love you, brother.
Love you too.
And we'll be back.
Peace. Hello, this is Sticks and Stones. I'm Vassy.
I'm Joshua.
Today, I want to talk about reparations.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. You know what? My first question is, what are reparations?
Reparations, the main part of that word is to repair. And repair what was taken away from my ancestors from being brought across in the transatlantic slave trade. Not being able to buy homes, buy land, have a job, earn money, has put many of us in a deficit today from what happened over the last couple hundred years. Your ancestors had the opportunity, whether they did or not, to buy land, to earn money, to build wealth. And what they did with that opportunity is on them. My ancestors did not. We paid reparations to the Japanese, which we needed to. Jewish people got reparations. They still collect reparations from Germany. Our people are the only people on the planet that have not received compensation for what happened to them.
Okay. So let's just play along with this, and I will have some opinions and more questions later on. But what would reparations look like to you?
First of all, the government promised us 40 acres and a mule. I'll take that.
Who gets it?
I am the last line of descendant on my grandfather's side.
Okay.
So I would get that.
Well, yeah, okay. Bassey Gardner gets it, but who else gets it? How do we decide? If you're black, you get it?
No, everyone, they have paperwork going back to every person that was brought over from the business of selling people.
I mean, I
documentation. It was on stock market.
Okay, I don't know a lot about this, but I'm going to say that it's reasonable to assume they do have some, but not all. Would that be a reasonable thing to say?
Correct, because we didn't have names.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't know how you would track.
Well, I know someone, last name of Gardner, who's a white guy. There's a really good chance that we're related somehow, and that somewhere in his lineage, his people own my people. Okay, which is why we have that name.
Okay. I'm sure that was a common thing for that to happen. So first off, who gets it? And that's not a satisfactory answer to me. And I know we're not going to come up with an answer right here, but I mean, if you want reparations, I think there's going to be some sort of framework as to what that looks like. And I think we both agree it's not just because you're black. There's a lot of black people.
It has nothing to do with my color.
Okay.
It happens to do with my ancestors.
Okay.
Being brought over from Africa.
So one qualifier would be you have to be able to demonstrate your lineage. Would that be fair?
Unfair.
Unfair.
How can I find that out?
I'm asking, bro. I mean,
right, but it's not fair. The government needs to determine that, figure that out, because the government is the ones who.
Yeah, I have no faith in that whatsoever.
Right.
Okay, so let's curb that unless you think there's anything more to explore on who gets it. Because first off, I think it's just a massive, massive, massive black hole of who gets it.
I'm African American.
Okay.
That's what I was dubbed as, an African American.
Do you like that?
I hate it. I hate it.
And don't use it.
But that's what the government.
Who cares?
That's what I have to.
I mean, you can use. I don't think I've ever called you African American in my life. Man, I don't care for it at all. But I'm not going to tell somebody what they should or shouldn't be called. So
no, but that's what the government says I am.
What do you want to be called?
I want to be called Vassie.
I dig that. Down for that. But okay, let's talk about.
So my problem with reparations is there's not even there's no energy or effort into trying to figure that out.
I wouldn't say none, but it certainly has faded quite a bit. I mean, there's not. And I mean, depends on what part of the country you're in. California, I still think there's an appetite for it.
But it's not happening.
No, it's not happening.
The state, if they wanted to fund it, could fund it.
I'd be a little surprised if it ever happens.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah. So who gets it? Lineage. Okay. So I mean, are we on the right track here? Do we have to track your lineage somehow, or the government? If you leave it up to the government, I mean, you're going to have to go file a claim. You're going to have to go do something that says I deserve this.
So there's a company called AfricanAncestry.com.
Okay.
On my mother's side, I have found my lineage, the tribes that I'm from, going back 2,000 years to 2 tribes in Nigeria.
Is one of them Wakanda?
Yeah, Wakanda forever. I wish. I wouldn't be here. I'd be in Wakanda right now. But they have information on, because there was Africans that sold Africans in slavery. That's common knowledge for most. So there is documentation.
Sure. But I mean, there's going to still be a lack of it in a lot of ways.
True, but there's also common sense.
Okay.
Right. If the Japanese, if they figure that out, and here in America, and this is just a generation ago, why can't they figure it out for us?
Okay. So I think the next leg of that, which, again, I'm just kind of leaving this because we're not going to solve all of this right now.
It's
anyway.
never going to solve it.
But so the next leg of it, who pays for it?
The government pays for it.
That's my money, man.
It's not your money.
Yeah, it is. That's my tax dollars. I mean, what, the government
money.
Just make it up? They just print it?
It is not.
They just make it up?
It is not your money or my money.
I pay taxes.
So we can fund a war. We can.
Yes.
Why can't we fund reparations?
I say we couldn't, but I mean.
So why is there an issue?
I'm just saying who pays for it. So everybody pays for it. So the government.
America benefited as a whole from my ancestors' work.
I mean, America benefited from everybody's work. Your ancestors' work just was free. Well, it wasn't free. The labor was free.
The labor was free.
Yeah.
Everything was free.
Well, no, you had to pay for the product, but the labor was free. It was kind of like getting a product.
Just saying that.
I get it. I understand.
But that's all the more reason why there should be reparations.
So, okay, now we're starting slavery at when? At one point? What point does it start?
1750.
So slavery started in 1750.
Roughly.
No, it did not.
Yes, it did.
Slavery has been around since the dawn of time.
We're talking about the transatlantic slave trade.
I know we are.
That's what we're talking about.
I know we are. But that was just one leg of slavery.
That's the argument that people bring up all the time. Why are we even talking about that?
Well, why does it start at 1750? Because it's the most recent?
We're talking about my people and people like me and what happened to us.
Yeah.
We don't ever go back when there's an atrocity with other people and say, well, what about them to other people? It's only with this instance.
I'm not saying what about them. I'm saying that slavery didn't start in 1750, and there have been generations and generations and generations that have come and gone. And what I'm hearing is, well, this time is different and we deserve this because this time happened at 1750 versus did the people in 1300 say, well, we had slavery in 900 and my ancestors were in Rome and they didn't get their 3 acres and a mule or whatever the number is. They didn't say that at that, or maybe they did.
We'll play this game. From history, slavery has been around forever.
Yes.
Slaves were allowed to pay off their debt.
Those were indentured servants. There were some slaves that
could pay off their debt and buy themselves. They could buy their freedom. That was a possibility.
Not all slaves.
Not all, but some.
There were some that
in
could.
This case,
okay, we'll agree with that.
In this case, that is not a possibility.
Well, again, some slaves did get freed. Now, albeit there wasn't a lot. But I mean, you say that wasn't the case. Some did. There were some free black people.
There were the slaves that were freed in most cases were when their owner died and they had no longer need for them.
I have no knowledge of that whatsoever.
I'm telling you.
I know. I'm just saying that I don't know anything about that.
So there was some free black people.
But I get my argument using that in this context here, but in this piece of the discussion, slavery didn't start in 1750. There has been slaves forever. That doesn't make it any less atrocious or any. No, it doesn't. It's all bad. It's all bad.
It has nothing to do with this conversation.
Well, I think it does.
Nor reparations.
I think it does. I think that throughout human history, there have been atrocities that have been committed towards specific people, and those people. We have to move forward and regroup. And at some point, I don't know what my lineage was like in Ireland or Scotland or in England, where my ancestors came from, to where at any point, later on in the Roman times, if, they were slaves. I have no idea. I don't know. My point being,
how long has America been a country?
I think we're celebrating 250 years this year.
Okay.
And?
Yes. So there was mistakes made in the past all over the world. Mm. We have an opportunity to correct the mistake. Mm. We have a moral obligation to correct the mistake, which we can do. Mm. Why not do it? If it's the right thing to do, which it is,
okay,
why not?
Okay.
You just talked about all these mistakes that happened in the past.
Sure.
Granted. Okay, so we'll say that.
Yeah.
Today we can fix a problem that
brings up another point here. So we've talked about who gets it, right, and who pays for it. What happens? Does Oprah get 40 acres and a mule? I mean,
if I would bet money that her lineage is part of the transatlantic slave trade,
wouldn't surprise me,
which is how most of us got here. Okay. Then absolutely, she deserves her 40 acres and a mule.
I mean, I think she's done fine in her life.
She's done great. She's an outlier.
I think you could make that argument for a lot of black people that have been very successful. That, I mean, then I guess I don't understand what the need. If you've done great, I don't understand what the need for reparations is. Shouldn't that be for the people that haven't done great? No.
Anyone that has slavery in their system deserves reparations, regardless if they're poor, rich, or in between.
And I guess that's where we go past 1750. Doesn't everybody have slavery in their system somewhere?
No.
I mean, there's been a lot of people around.
America doesn't have an obligation to them.
All right,
America has an obligation to us.
Okay. That tracks. All right. America doesn't have an obligation to everybody else. All right. That sounds reasonable.
It is.
Right there. I mean, you say we can, I don't know what 40 acres and a mule costs. There's got to be some way to quantify that. I'm not going to agree, though, that everybody should get it. You're not going to convince me Oprah Winfrey should get it.
Why not?
Because she doesn't need it.
Regardless, why not?
She doesn't need it.
Her ancestors were promised 40 acres and a mule.
Where did this come from? I mean, I've heard this term. I don't know.
And then when Lincoln died, the next president took that off.
So Lincoln said all the freed slaves are going to get 40 acres and a mule.
Yes.
I mean, I've heard this term. I just honestly, frankly, don't know enough about it. After this, I will go research it.
Yes.
But I don't know enough about it.
Then he was assassinated, and that went away.
Yeah, I heard.
Right, you heard about that?
Yeah. I heard he had a bad night.
So if America makes a promise to a group of people, and they've held so many promises to every other group of people in this country, why not us? So
what do you do for the people that are incarcerated? Do they get 40 acres and a mule? Do they have to sell their 40 acres and a mule?
So Incarceration. Why are they incarcerated? Let's pick something.
They broke the law.
What law?
I mean, I'm sure it's different for a lot of them. Let's say they stole something or killed somebody.
Okay, why did they steal something? Because they needed food or money or whatever.
Okay, so somebody stole a Kia because they needed food.
Yeah, why not? They're going to sell it.
Okay.
That's when most people, I would assume, steal things because they can't afford to buy it.
Some people steal things because that's their job. That's what they do for a living.
To make money, right?
Sure, but it's illegal.
There's a lot of laws that aren't good laws.
Okay, I think that's a pretty good one, though. I think not stealing is a pretty good law.
Here's my point. These people that are in jail, had they been given 40 acres and a mule, maybe they wouldn't have to do the things that they were doing.
Maybe,
maybe not. We will never know.
Maybe, yeah.
Give them their 40 acres and a mule and let them decide to do with it.
And so, I mean, I didn't mean that as like a gotcha question, and I know you don't have an answer for what would you do with somebody incarcerated like that. It's just my point being is that's a whole mess. It's a mess.
It is a mess.
It's a giant mess.
It's a mess America created.
And then, well, yeah, I mean,
fix it.
Yeah. You're asking today's society to fix something that we didn't cause.
Slavery was not that long ago.
I mean, do you know anybody who was alive 250 years ago?
No, but I know people that were in Jim Crow. They're still alive today.
Okay.
Jim Crow was a byproduct of slavery.
We are not going to disagree on Jim Crow. We're just not.
It's a byproduct of slavery.
We're not going to disagree on that.
It's the next iteration.
Generations get better, and there's nobody that's going to defend in 2026 America. There's going to be nobody's going to defend the transatlantic slave trade. It's going to be nobody's going to defend that, right? Well, we know it's a horrible black eye.
Yep.
We're very well aware of that.
Yep.
Right. And as I've said to you in the past, and I will say, hopefully to my dying breath, that 2026 America is the least racist nation in the world. I didn't say we're not. There's not racism.
You have the
around.
luxury of saying that. You do. You have that luxury.
Okay. Which part of that do you not agree with?
I don't have that luxury of walking around this great country of ours pretending like racism is better than it was 40 or 50, 60 years ago. If I did that, there's a good chance that I wouldn't be here. If I talked to cops the way you talk to cops or interact with cops any kind of way that I felt like it, because I have that right to, I wouldn't be here. Would you not? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Would you not agree that racism today race relations today are far better than they were 50 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago? Would you not agree with that?
It sounded like you said there was less racism today than there was before.
I probably did say that. And is there not less racism today?
Nope.
You don't? Okay. I
don't think so.
I mean, only one of us is black. So, I mean, only one of us, is looked through that lens.
This is a two-sided coin. And the only way that racism will go away is with your help.
I mean,
and people like you.
I'm not part of that problem. Like, I'm just not. I'm not part of that problem.
You're in America, so you are part of your problem.
And
my problem is your problem.
No, I'm not. I'm not part of that problem. That is racist.
You're not racist.
I'm not that.
You're not.
And so when you say things like you can help fix it, I do my part, man. I do my part I'm not racist. I raised 2 kids, that aren't racist. I can control my 4 walls and I can control what I do. And I don't conduct myself in any manner that would further any ridiculous notions or ideas, like that. I would not hang out with somebody who was racist. I wouldn't know somebody who was racist. Well, of course, knowingly. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't hang out with a murderer if I knew he was a murderer, but behind closed doors, he might be killing some people. I mean, yeah, of course, knowingly, right. I wouldn't do that. But in my opinion, as we move forward, we can only do better today than what we did yesterday.
And the best way to do that is by fixing the mistakes of the past. You can't ignore them. You can't ignore history.
Absolutely not. 100% no. Of course not.
And we have the ability to fix that.
I don't even know where the 40 acres would come from, but
right.
The mule's the easy part.
And if I didn't get the 40 acres and a mule because I'm okay in life, so be it. But give it to someone that needs it. There's a good chance that I would go, take this.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Do you I don't know how much time we got left here, but have you ever talked to your kids about this?
Yeah, of Of course, you have to.
No, but I was going to ask, how do they feel about that? Like, do they have a similar? I guess what I'm going after is not necessarily your kids, but the younger generation. I know you have a direct line to your kids.
Right. So I don't know what to talk about.
Oh,
my son is he doesn't care about that stuff.
okay.
My daughters, on the other hand, care about our history and where we came from and where they came from, and know that they have to do things differently. They have to move differently for them to stay safe. My son hasn't quite grasped that. He's 6'3", he's 280 pounds.
I haven't seen him.
Large,
since he was a kid. So.
Large man, and he's what they fear the most, and he doesn't understand that.
He lives it every day, and you're saying he doesn't understand it. I mean, you're not giving him enough credit for the way he views the world.
My son, I wish I had his view on life.
Don't you think his view is a pretty great view?
I wish I could do that, but he didn't have the raising that I had.
No,
he had me and his mom. And my wife.
Yeah,
to set him up.
Yeah, and
shield him.
Yeah,
I didn't get shielded.
Well, no, but you set the world right. You set your world right, and you made. I mean, I would dare say your kids look up to you. I would dare say that you're a good father, that you're a good provider, that you set your world right. And I think that's what we can do every day. And that's how we combat these things, is that we set our world right moving forward.
We do what we can do.
Yeah.
Right. There's still an obligation that this country owes.
All right. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that feel like me,
of course,
that think that, I did not benefit from that. I did not have anything to do with that. And that we live in today, the greatest nation with the most opportunity, the most prosperity that we've ever had before.
How much of the world have you traveled?
A decent amount.
And you can say for sure that we're the greatest country. You believe that wholeheartedly?
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind we're the greatest nation. I mean, we could talk about that for a whole segment if there's something else, on your mind. I'd love to discuss that more. Yeah, I absolutely believe that. We are the land of opportunity. But that is a different segment.
It is totally different. It's questionable. I'll just say that. Whether we are the greatest country on this planet.
I think we've found a topic for another day. So I think we need to take a commercial break.
Yes, sir.
You want to take us home?
I love you.
I love you, brother. We'll see you in the next one.
If you want attention, you need more than an ad. You need a presence. Welcome to WWDBTV, your internet streaming TV station built for business and people. We create high-impact commercials and video podcasts with pro production. Then we help distribute your show where audiences already watch and listen. Your brand, your story. Broadcast ready. On streaming, on social, and beyond. Ready to be seen? Visit WWDBTV.com and book your production today.
Welcome back to Sticks and Stones. I am Joshua.
I'm Vassy.
And we get to dive into some more topics that might be a little uncomfortable. So today, I want to talk about the Second Amendment, which I know is something that I know Vassy believes in as well, although I won't put words in your mouth.
I do believe in
the Second Amendment. How do you feel about the Second Amendment?
I believe in the Second Amendment.
I believe that the Second Amendment is so important. That's why they put it second. Obviously, the First Amendment being our freedoms of speech, having the freedoms that we have today would not be nearly as valid. We wouldn't be the society we are without the First Amendment. But the way that we have the First Amendment is the Second Amendment. So we're going to talk a lot about the Second Amendment today. And one of the things that I'll start off with by saying is that I often say things like, we are the greatest nation in the history of the world. And I'll say things like, we're the freest nation in the history of the world. And I would back that up right now by saying there is no other country that has ever existed that has had etched in their constitution their guaranteed right as an American, or guaranteed right as whatever citizen of the country they are, to own a gun. And we do. And I would like to talk about why that's so important, and then we'll talk about some other issues there. But to start off with, the Second Amendment is to prevent government tyranny. That is the primary focus of that. We have a lot of other benefits that come from owning a gun, but the primary function is to prevent government tyranny. And one of the things I hear says, we couldn't we couldn't have an uprising. We couldn't defeat the government. The U.S. military is essentially the argument. We couldn't defeat the U.S. military. And what I would say to that is, yes, we could. That's exactly what happened to the British. The British were the greatest armed forces in the history of the world, and we beat them. I would think the very first thing that would happen, I know, let me give you your opportunity here. The very first thing that would happen is if we decided to have a rebellion and a revolt, which hopefully never has to happen, but let's just pretend that it does. I would argue, and you would know this better than I would because you served in the military, I would argue half of the men and women serving in the military would take the side of the people, not the side of the government. Do you think that's fair? No. You think they would oppress and shoot their fellow citizens?
Rephrase the question.
Do you think that if we had an oppressive government to the point to where the citizenry were rising up and revolting, that the United States military, that half my argument would be half of the people serving in the military would side with the people and they would defect or leave the military to fight with the citizens?
I would agree with that.
Okay. So we would automatically have half of the people, right?
Not the tools.
Well, we'd have to go do what they did during the Revolutionary War, and you got to go take them. Got to get the tools. We've already got half the personnel in the military, so finding out where they're at and going to get them. And obviously, I'm not going to, this is just hypothetical.
Right. The problem with that, though, is the British were fighting in land that they weren't familiar with.
Yeah, true.
And we are already here.
Got it.
We're all on this land.
I would just make the argument that it would not be a foregone conclusion that we could not beat the United States military. I would just make that argument that it's not so easy as to say we couldn't stand up against them. Well, Joshua, they have F-14s and tanks and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, they do. But wars are won in a lot of different ways. And even if we couldn't, so let me grant the premise that we couldn't win. There would be such catastrophic damage that just the idea of having to go through something like that is enough to where to prevent government tyranny. I would say that is the bigger argument.
So we're talking about civil war.
Listen, well, you know what the difference is between a civil war and a revolution?
Please tell me.
The winner.
So the Civil War, there was a winner.
Right.
What happened to the loser?
As a civil war, we maintained the Union, so it was a civil war.
What happened to the loser?
They stayed Americans.
And they got to keep what? Everything. Like they never lost.
Yeah. Well, yes, sure. Jefferson said he wanted to get prosecuted, but they said no. But yes, to your point, yes, that is what happened. But a lot of guys lost their lives and lost everything. But yes, to your point, I don't think anybody went to prison and got hanged for treason.
If there was a revolution, what do you think would happen to the losers today?
I don't know. I guess there's a lot that depends. I couldn't say that a revolution, they could go away scot-free, because what if they were revolting for ridiculous reasons that I don't agree with? I mean, it all comes down to what you believe you're revolting against, right. what your revolution is for.
So we have the right to bear arms and protect ourselves. The Constitution, from my knowledge, that Second Amendment was written based on the musket. Correct? No. What was it based on?
First off, we had more than muskets when the war or the Constitution was written.
So we didn't have AR-15s.
We also didn't have the internet when the First Amendment was written.
True. Which is why there's been amendments.
Which is also why there have been gun laws.
And we need amendments.
I mean, you don't need amendments to have gun laws.
So do you believe that anyone should be able to get a semi-automatic weapon?
Anyone? No. I believe anyone qualified should. As long as your record is clean and you're over 21.
Good point.
Yes.
How do you determine qualification?
Criminal record. Mental health.
Mental health isn't one of the...
Sure it is.
There's plenty of people that get weapons that are mentally unstable.
Sure, but are there laws on the books that you have to be mentally well to get a gun? I mean, you have to go through a background check.
But there should be.
There should be. But that does also...
Right.
That also comes to you can't just say somebody's mentally unwell, just take their gun away. If they are diagnosed and they have a clinical issue, you cannot have a gun. That I do know.
How easy is it for someone to get a weapon? It's pretty easy.
I mean, as long as your record is clean, yeah.
Right.
It's not that hard.
And to me, that's an issue.
I don't think so.
That is a problem. Based off of all the school shootings that we have, and my daughter having to train for active shooters every year, some changes needs to happen.
School shootings are atrocious, and again, we're going to agree on that, and that's awful. That's an awful thing.
Something needs to happen.
It's an awful thing. But we don't treat guns the same way that we treat other deaths. Like, more people die every year from car accidents, and we're not banning cars. Argument. Oh, so one death is worse than another?
That's a terrible argument.
I think we're safer with guns than we are with cars.
That's a terrible argument. I'm not saying that.
Death isn't death? I mean, more people die in car accidents. That's just a fact.
You're just excluding the why. Like, the why is equally important, if not more important.
Fewer people die because of gun deaths. Fewer people. That's an objective truth.
Yes. There's more cars on the road than people with guns. So
there are twice as, yeah, they're probably right about that. There's twice as many guns as there are people.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's 700 million cars in the country, but if you told me there were, I'd probably believe you. I don't know.
Right.
I probably believe you.
I don't know that as a fact, but common sense would tell you that there's more cars, more deaths.
Somebody look that up. Tell us in the comments.
Right.
Are there more vehicles or are there more guns?
I don't know what to say.
I don't know why that's such a bad argument. I mean, if somebody dies, then somebody dies. I mean, a death is a death. And if it's accidental, I would argue that's worse.
That's just cold.
That's worse.
What about the why, though?
If somebody dies by accident, that is worse.
School shootings aren't accidents.
I know that.
It's on purpose, with a purpose.
If you die in a motor vehicle, that's an accident. That is worse than somebody intentionally killing you, because we can punish that person. We can study why that happened and look to prevent it.
Is not on purpose. It's the why isn't I'm intentionally going out to hurt someone.
I know. My argument is that makes it
worse.
That's
not worse. It's
because you can't. You can't prevent it.
It's why it's called an accident.
So you should take the car away. That's just too dangerous. It's too dangerous of a weapon. There's no constitutional right for a car. You should take that away. There's too many people dying. It's just too dangerous. But we don't do that, do we? Responsible gun owners don't kill people. People that know how to use a gun are less likely to kill people.
True. And that's what needs to happen.
Oh, we're going to agree. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There needs to be something that happens to prevent the people that shouldn't have guns.
Yeah.
Not being able to get guns.
So, as many of you know, I am running for Assembly District 5 here in the great state of Nevada. And one of the things I would like to see when I get elected is gun safety taught in schools. Now, there's a lot of ways that we can go about that. And certainly if parents don't want their child to learn gun safety, then, that's something that you might be able to opt out of. But I believe that you should know your constitutional rights and that you should know how to operate safely a weapon, a gun. I think that women should be encouraged to own guns.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I think they should. I mean, we live in a dangerous world. And I think that is very much an equalizer. I don't think anybody should be forced to have a gun that doesn't want one.
No.
But
do you know why it's harder to get guns today than it was 50, 60 years ago?
I do not.
You know who the Black Panthers are?
I've heard of them.
They use their rights to bear arms in California and to protect people. And there's laws on the books now that make it harder for everyone to carry guns because they didn't want people like the Black Panthers who were doing good in the communities to have arms.
I don't know enough about the Black Panthers, so I don't know.
There's the reason why I bring that up is because there's another part to that is, again, people like me and other minorities have a harder time getting through that background process than people like you.
Don't you have your CCW?
I do.
You don't have a problem at all getting a gun.
I'm also ex-military. So there's a difference.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference. So
I mean, we started out, well, I shouldn't have started, but we did state at some point that it wasn't that hard to get a gun.
It's harder than it used to be.
I'm gonna have to, say that I don't have anything to compare it to. I've only bought one gun in my life, and so I don't know what it's like 20 years ago to buy one.
When you have a chance, go look up the Black Panthers and see what happened to them.
about their gun ownership or just
their gun ownership? That's what we're talking about right now in the Second Amendment.
I do believe that it is every American's right to own a gun, Black Panthers and all, as long as you don't have a criminal record, as long as you're not, trying to kill somebody, as long as, you are fit to have a gun. I do believe that your right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I won't go so far as to say I'm the Second Amendment absolutist, but I'm about as close to an absolutist as you can get.
Yeah, I think that we have another moral obligation to our children to make sure that they're safe. And whatever needs to happen to make that happen, I'm down with.
Do you think that we are more or less safe with guns? More safe or less safe when we own guns?
If there was no guns in this country, we'd be safer.
So are murders less likely or more likely, or do they happen when they don't have guns?
It's much easier to kill someone with a gun than without.
I mean, of course it is. That's the whole purpose of a gun. It's the point of a gun is to kill something.
So common sense would say that there would be less deaths. You'd have to come up to me and stick me in the belly with a knife.
Right. I guess my point being is that if you want to kill somebody, you're going to kill somebody. Like, just because you own a gun doesn't mean you're going to kill somebody. I've owned a gun for a while. Never killed anybody.
Yeah, we're talking about opportunity.
Well, if you want to kill somebody, you're going to. You don't need a gun to do it.
No, but you have the opportunity to kill someone a lot easier with a gun than without.
Again, it's
come on.
If you want to kill somebody, I understand what you're saying, but if you want to kill somebody, you will, and if you don't want, or you can, and if you don't want to, you're not going to. A gun doesn't have that much to do with it.
No guns in this country. There's no mass shootings.
Well, I mean, you have to have a gun to have a mass shooting.
Exactly.
So, of course.
So are we safer that way?
I mean, how many mass shootings happen? I mean, again, they're atrocious.
Every year. Like
every day.
There was just.
That's not every day. That is not every day. 365 days in a year. It is not every day.
Okay. 50% of the time.
Okay. I will look up the stats and somebody please in the comments. I mean, what do you consider a mass shooting?
More than 2.
Going by skin and bones here. We can do it later. We're on air right now.
I was going to look it up.
I mean, somebody in the comments will, and we'll look it up, another time.
I just believe that if we had no guns, our children
we can revisit this topic, later.
And our children are our future. Like, sound like a song.
I think that obviously is a song,
right?
And that's completely true. I mean, obviously they're kids, and they are the future, and we both want what's best. We both want what's best for the kids. We both want what's best for the nation. I'm happier that we have a Second Amendment. I'm happier that we have the right to keep and bear arms. I'm happier that we're a stronger nation because of that.
I would argue that me carrying a gun puts me at more risk.
I mean, you can make that argument. We've had this discussion, and it's impossible for me to argue from your shoes.
Right.
So I can't, and I'm not going to.
And I don't know. I don't know if we're safer or not.
You own a gun.
Yes.
I think that says everything about it. I mean, if you didn't want to, there's nobody that says you have to. You do own a gun.
Yep. Just for home protection.
Perfect. I mean, that means you think you're safer with it.
Correct.
I think that's kind of where we're at with that. So again, I believe that there's much that sets us apart from the rest of the world, and that is right at the top, of that, and just along with all of our other constitutional rights. But being able to keep and bear arms sets us apart from everybody else. And when people say, "Well, nobody else has the Second Amendment," yeah, they don't, and they're not America, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. We live in the greatest city, in the greatest state, in the greatest country that has ever lived. And that is my stance.
Okay.
Anything else you want to say on that?
Nope.
All right. Well, we'll be back after this. And as always, love you, brother.
Love you.
And we'll be back.
Hello, this is Sticks and Stones, and I am Vassie.
I'm Joshua.
And today I wanted to bring up generational wealth. I think it's important that as families, you set your future descendants up for success. And part of my journey, Josh is involved with. He is my financial advisor, and we'll just leave it there. But he's helping me to create a legacy for my family.
So there's a lot of things that we can talk about here, and I would say the place where we would want to start. So depending on where you're at in your financial journey, where you want to start is teaching your kids financial stability. that is, if you want generational wealth. So we're not talking about how necessarily you can build wealth, but we can also talk about that later too. But generational wealth, meaning that you are going to pass this on. This is your legacy. You're going to give this to your kids. So the first thing that you need to do is make sure they understand
financial literacy.
And then, once again, I'll plug myself again that I am running for state assembly in District 5, and that is something that I want in the curriculum in schools. So one of my core tenets is going to be education reform, and we do not teach kids financial literacy in school.
Right.
So that's where we would want to start. So, okay, teaching your kids financial literacy and really just the ABCs. You don't need to rewrite the books here. Teach them how to balance a checkbook. Teach them how to pay taxes. Teach them how to save. Teach them about a Roth. Teach them about an IRA. Teach them about when they get older, how they can invest in a 401k.
What's a check?
Yeah, I'm dating myself,
right?
With that. A great way to, and you can do this with your kids, is you can open up a trading account. There's a lot of good places that are out there. I'm not going to name any of them, but just Google them and you'll be able to find places to trade. And you don't need to start with big money. That's great, especially with kids, which makes it great. Buy a couple of shares of Apple or Google. Google's a great one right now. Google's on fire. And there's going to be plenty of them. With the AI boom right now, there's going to be lots of them. And you don't need to spend a lot of money. And you can buy one share at a time, for these and helping your kids, teach them to build real generational wealth. Buy and hold strategies, more often than not, are going to be the way that you would build and hold your wealth. Stocks are one of the greatest ways to get wealthy, and the buy and hold strategy is going to be a fantastic way to do that. And you say, well, Joshua, I don't. Where's the next Apple? I don't know. I don't know who the next Apple is, right? I know though that when Apple started taking off, if you'd have bought it then, I'm talking 2008 or 2005 or something. 2005, that's a great time. So we had already gone through the initial boom of Apple, right? And then you buy it, and then it sinks 80% during the great financial crisis, right? The great recession. You're like, oh, I'm never going to get this back. You keep buying it, you keep buying it, you keep buying it. And today, depending on how much money you put in there, that thing has got to be up something like 2,000% or more, something like that. It's got to be fantastic. But stocks is going to be a great way to build financial wealth and help your kids build financial wealth.
Yeah, I would say for people that, and I'm no expert by any means, but owning land, owning a home is another way to help start the process.
Absolutely.
Because there's very few times where you've bought a home and it's gone backwards for the long term.
Very few.
Right. And the longer you can stay in like land owning or home owning, the more times you can do that, there's a good chance that your family's going to be set up for success.
Absolutely. That's another great one. So I'm very glad you bring this up. And again, we're talking about building generational wealth. And we can talk about, who you are and as a person, as the parents building financial wealth, but helping generational wealth here, we want to make sure and focus on teaching your kids on how to do that. Because the parent, you've got all the control to help influence and shape them to be financially responsible here. So when you buy your first house, it's not meant to be, the Taj Mahal. It's not meant to be a house in, Beverly Hills. Buy what you can afford. Right. And you're going to be able to buy what you can afford and put enough down on that and then make the payments. And then a few years later, when you can trade up. Now, maybe you make more money, or maybe your house is just appreciated or something like that. You do that a couple of times, and you might have to wait until your mid 30s or 40s before you have the house that you're going to retire in. Maybe that's the case, but it'll be worth it. And you will have owned a home the entire time, doing that.
Now, how do you protect your assets?
So that's a great question. There's a couple different ways that you can protect what you have. So in the beginning, I know I keep focusing on that, is you want to just start building something, right? Once you have something to protect, you can open up a trust account, for example. That's definitely going to help you protect within your family. To something happens to you or your spouse or together, now you have a financial plan and an estate plan of where your assets are going to go if something were to happen to you.
And you can bypass probate.
And so hopefully you never have to go through probate. It is awful. The state doesn't want you there, and it costs a lot of money, and you don't get everything that you want in there, just do yourself a favor and get yourself a trust or a will when you start building some wealth. In that trust, you may want to have some insurance in there, some life insurance of some kind, or something that protects what you have too. Again, there's no one size fits all for everybody. It's going to be a little bit different. Consult your financial professional when it comes to that, when it comes to protecting your assets, but there are definitely ways to do that.
And doing something is absolutely better than doing nothing. And the more times you can do something, sooner or later, you're going to have a nest egg. And then that egg is going to get bigger and bigger and grow and grow. And 20 years, 30 years, it takes time. That's why it's called a generational thing. It's called generational wealth. It takes time. But I think that people are living paycheck to paycheck these days. A lot of people are struggling. But you should do something.
Yeah, it's a good point, that you bring up, right there. To where I hear, a lot that people are living paycheck to paycheck, and that's true. People do that. If the first thing you should do is look at your financial situation, look at your income and look at your expenses. It's the first thing you should do, right? Hopefully, again, when we talk about the youngsters, here, when you're going in, have a plan on how much you can spend and how much you need to save. That's very important, because you make $100 doesn't mean you should spend $100.
Right.
You should take that and allocate, how much am I going to save, right? And how much am I going to use for my expenses? And then how much am I going to use for me? Like go out to dinner or go out to a movie or something like that. You want to be able to allocate all that. But the first thing that you need to do is have a plan. How much does my life cost? What's my rent? What's my car payment? What's my insurance? Things of that nature. And how much do I need to save over here? Because it's going to be very important. I'm so proud of my daughter, is where she started a Roth, IRA, and she puts money in there, and it's not a lot, but she'll keep putting more money in there, as she gets older. But she started doing something, and she's really young. So that money is going to keep growing. And for all those youngsters out there, open a Roth IRA. If you make under $50,000 a year, get a Roth IRA. Again, consult your financial professionals when it comes to that, but I don't want to necessarily get into too much detail when it comes to that.
Right.
But there are some benefits that you're going to have versus others.
I would just say, just from personal experience, and by no means am I an expert, but don't leave your money in a savings account.
No. Oh God, no. No.
That money is for the banks to use on their behalf. Make your money work for you.
You will likely not outpace inflation, when it comes to that. So invest your money. And when it comes to that, and Apple is just, everybody knows who Apple is. So it's an easy one to target. So if you buy Apple or whatever it is you buy, know that it's going to fluctuate in value. So when you're buying a stock, again, this is generational wealth stuff. This is not, I'm going to buy it, it's going to double tomorrow, right? I'm going to buy it, it's going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to go up, it's going to go down, and so on and so on and so on. Keep adding to it. You can't just buy one stock of Apple and expect in 20 years to be rich. You have to keep adding to it, but it's going to go down sometimes. Don't freak out. It's not for, the money is not for tomorrow.
Right.
The money is for later on. Right. So it will be fine. So the important things are here. Make sure that we discuss this. Have a plan. Know how much money you're bringing in. Know how much money you're spending. Right. Know how much money you can save. Stick to your plan. And as they say, the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. It's not is it possible your plan will go wrong? There will be things that go wrong. Life happens.
Right. There's a thing that I learned. There's two things that I've learned recently. If you have $1, pretend like you're going to rip it up in thirds. And there's certain things that you do with each third. Put some away, some for expenses and some for fun. And that's a good way to start saving money. The other thing that I've learned, and this is more on a personal note, is to not negotiate with myself. And this is something that Kobe Bryant talked about a lot, Mamba mentality, is when you say you're going to do something for yourself, it's a contract. And you can't break those contracts. You make promises to other people and you fulfill them all the time. But for some reason, when we say we're going to do something, it's real easy to just not do it.
Yeah.
And that's when failure sets in, doubt sets in. But when you hold yourself accountable to that contract you signed with yourself, there's a good chance that you're going to succeed. You won't succeed if you don't try. So hold yourself accountable.
Hold yourself accountable. Be your own best critic. Be hard on yourself.
Be your own best friend.
Be your own best friend. Set a goal, set a plan, and then go execute it. And what I was, getting to about, your plans will often go awry. Don't worry about that. It's going to happen. Get back on your horse and just keep going. I mean, life gets messy. It's not going to be a perfect journey, but what you have to do is keep moving forward.
Stay the course.
You have to keep moving forward. That doesn't mean sometimes you're not going to change your direction a little bit. Something comes along in life. That's fine. A wife, a kid, a house, a job. Things change. That's fine. Adapt and keep moving forward. But always stick to your plan. Save money. Invest well. Buy your house, when you're young. Stick to it. And before you know it, you're going to be like, man, I've really come a long way.
Start a podcast. Do something. This is something that I said I was going to do for the last 2 or 3 years, and I just didn't do it. And like all these contracts that I signed to myself, I'm fulfilling those contracts.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love hearing that. This we're having great. Tell us, how you feel. Are you building wealth? Do you have wealth? How did you do it? Do you have a story that can help somebody? We would love to hear it. So, tell us down in the comments.
Yeah, I have some really good books that I've started reading and have read that have helped me along my journey. I'll put those in the comments. Yeah,
there's a lot of great podcasts. One is Everything Money. I'll give those guys a plug. They do great. There's several good ones. There's also some real shit ones. So just because somebody's giving you advice, don't necessarily.
You said a bad language word.
Indeed I did. But don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all that great YouTube stuff. My name's Joshua.
I'm Vassy.
And I love you, brother.
Love you too, bro.
We'll see you next time.
Peace.